In an age of war and doubt, one young woman rose, not with riches or rank but with unwavering conviction. Her name was Joan of Arc, and her story was not just written in history. It was etched in the stars. Joan of Arc was born in 1413 in the small village of Domremy, France. Her world was simple: a devout Catholic family, farm life, and the ever-present backdrop of the 100 Years' War. But by the age of 12, something extraordinary began. Joan started hearing voices, holy voices. She said they belonged to Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret, and they told her she was destined for a divine mission. In her birth chart, Joan was born under the influence of Ketu, a shadow planet associated with mysticism and spiritual awakening. Her Ketu was in Pisces, the sign of divine surrender and vision. This combination occurred in the 8th house, the house of the unseen, secrets, and spiritual transformation. For those new to astrology, the 8th house governs mystical experiences and intense emotional evolution. With Ketu here, Joan was born with an invisible thread connecting her to something far beyond this world. At just 16, Joan took the voices seriously. She traveled hundreds of miles through enemy territory to meet Charles VII, the Dauphin of France. This illiterate peasant girl convinced powerful men that she was divinely chosen to save France, and she was given command of troops. She led them to a miraculous victory at the Siege of Orleans in 1429. Venus is the planet of love, grace, charm, and devotion. But in Joan's chart, Venus was exalted, meaning it was in its strongest position in the sign of Pisces. It shared the 8th house with Ketu and the moon. Now the 8th house isn't just about death and mystery, it's also where deep transformation happens. Exalted Venus here gave Joan incredible spiritual magnetism. She wasn't just brave, she was divinely inspiring. Venus also ruled her 3rd house, the house of courage and bold action. So when the Venus major period began, Joan didn't hesitate. She rose like a phoenix, driven by a spiritual force that even seasoned generals couldn't ignore. Following her battlefield success, Joan pushed for something symbolic: the coronation of Charles VII. She led him through dangerous lands to Rheims, where kings were traditionally crowned. On July 17, 1429, Charles was anointed King of France, and Joan stood beside him in armor, having fulfilled what the voices told her. The sun is the planet of power, leadership, and light. In her chart, it was placed in the 6th house, the house of service, enemies, and overcoming obstacles. This placement gave her the fire to challenge injustice and elevate as a leader. During her Venus-Sun period, she fulfilled her spiritual duty not through conquest but through service. But glory is never without shadows. In 1430, Joan was captured by the Burgundians and sold to the English. A political trial followed. She was accused of heresy and witchcraft, for wearing men's clothing and claiming to hear divine voices. On May 30th, 1431, at the age of 19, Joan was burned at the stake. Witnesses say she met death with peace, calling on God till her last breath. The moon in Joan's chart was also in the 8th house with Ketu and Venus. It represents emotions, intuition, and the feminine spirit. The 8th house again brought depth and transformation, and yes, endings. Next came Mars, the planet of war and confrontation. In her chart, Mars was in the 7th house, the house of opponents and public judgment. During this Venus-Mars period, Joan met her fiercest opposition. Yet she remained unbroken. Her death wasn't a defeat, it was a spiritual victory. Long after the flames, Joan's story didn't fade. In 1456, a retrial declared her innocent. In 1920, she was declared a saint by the Catholic Church. Today, she remains a symbol of faith, courage, and divine duty. Venus, the planet that ruled her most impactful years, is also the planet of legacy. Her Venus major period lit the world with a fire that no trial could extinguish. Born a peasant, died a warrior, remembered as a saint. Joan of Arc followed her inner voice with unwavering faith, and if we listen closely, her stars whisper to us too, do your duty and let go of the rest. Joan of Arc's story reminds us that destiny speaks softly, but those who listen can change history. To dive deeper into her life or explore the stars through Vedic astrology, check the links in the description below. And if this journey moved you, don't let it end here. Like, share, and subscribe to keep the fire of timeless wisdom burning bright.